Okay, so last video, y'all told me I was talking too much. SOSA, you talking too much. Let the video play. So with that being said, this video, we just gonna let the video play. And I don't want to hear nothing. But let's get straight into the video.
Asking you to identify yourself so I can let my dispatcher know who I'm out with. If you don't identify yourself, that is obstruction.
What crime did I commit?
There's no crime, but I'm identifying you. Okay.
Turn around. Because I didn't do anything. Okay, turn around. Oh, sir, she almost ran me off the road.
Okay. Again, you didn't yield to lights and siren. You came out.
She was next to me and stopped it.
Oh, do you want me to talk? Do you want me to talk? Or am I talking too much?
Almost ran me off the fucking road. What are you talking about?
Listen to me.
On September 22nd, 2022, Officer Lewis of the Cleveland Heights Police Department initiated a traffic stop for expired tags on a silver Infiniti. However, her reckless driving nearly caused a collision with another driver, Mr. Kern. After the near miss, Mr. Kern...
I don't care about the people who think I'm not finna talk about video. Nah, I ain't gonna lie, it's crazy though, man. Like, officer reckless driving to go get somebody for a traffic stop?
nearly caused a collision with another driver, Mr. Kern. After the near miss, Mr. Kern, upset about her dangerous behavior, pulled over to talk to Officer Lewis. Though he complied by waiting on the sidewalk, Officer Lewis, after addressing the driver of the Infiniti, approached Mr. Kern with hostility. She escalated the situation, claiming he hadn't yielded to her lights and sirens, although Mr. Kern disputed this. Her story shifted multiple times during the encounter, ultimately leading to an unjustified call for backup.
Standby. It's going to be on Mayfield across from the first access road. Send me another unit because another party does not know how to yield to lights and sirens, and he's sitting here reporting me. Say that I almost ran him off the road.
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Officer Lewis with Cleveland Heights. The reason I'm for the traffic stop is the plates on the vehicle are expired. It's not even a big deal. Do you know that guy behind me in the Porsche?
I was trying to hurry up and move on.
You're good. No, you're good. You did the right thing. I'm put my lights out and sirens. He did not move over. I'll give you the plate to the other vehicle that's out with the confrontation. I apologize.
You almost ran me off the road.
I initiated my lights and sirens.
I didn't hear anything.
What, was your music on? Because I had the lights and sirens on, sir.
Yes, sir.
I apologize.
You're wrong.
He stopped abruptly. Okay, I'm not wrong. The lights and sirens
Are you not wrong if you like? What do you mean? All right, that don't make sense.
were activated. Okay, I did not do that, sir. The lights and sirens on my marked patrol because he stopped abruptly, causing me to stop abruptly, causing you to stop abruptly. And I apologize for that. However, the lights and sirens were on. Okay, the police vehicle is marked. You can clearly see it's a marked patrol vehicle. I initiated lights and sirens. I'm not going to argue, and I'm telling you I do. I'm going to tell you I do apologize that he did stop abruptly. Nobody was wrong.
I'm going to tell you the disconnect, right? So between the public and you as a public servant,
When you're just that driver check, okay?
if there's something wrong and you actually did it, all you say, my bad. I'm
And I
sorry,
did. I just
and
said
keep going.
Right, you don't take accountability and then say it's not your fault. That don't make like. Okay, I almost ran you off the road, but it's not my fault. So what are we talking about? Why are we even here in the first place?
my bad. I said I activated a I initiated a traffic stop in a marked vehicle with lights and sirens. If you didn't hear the sirens or see the lights, I
mean, you called back up for your safety.
well, I called back up because somebody is getting out of a cop car.
Sergeant Wolf arrived on the scene and immediately made assumptions without properly assessing the situation. He accused Mr. Kern of obstruction, despite having no legal basis for the claim. Wolf's actions reflect a broader issue within law enforcement.
I mean, you called back up for your safety, but
Well, you don't pull up behind an officer on a traffic stop.
you don't even know what's going on.
You're right, I don't.
So why are you saying that?
Because I'm here and what you're doing right now is
Facts. Like, come on, bro. Who was following the officer during the traffic stop? Make it make sense, man. He just said she almost ran him off the road. So does that mean she's behind him or in front of him? Can't run somebody off the road if you're in front of them.
You almost ran me off the road.
okay. Well, then you should have pulled over for lights and sirens. She said it on the radio that you didn't yield, and it's on dash cam. I'm assuming.
This the disconnect, man.
Sir,
I'll tell you what. Let her finish her business, and then we can sit down and talk like
we're
adults.
good. I'm going to let him go. We're good. I'm going to let him go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was was your last name?
My last name?
Yeah.
Why you need my last name?
Because I'm asking who I'm talking to. You asked me who you were talking to.
You're not going to be under arrest because what you're doing is illegal.
Listen,
What you're doing is illegal. I can charge you for interfering with the
just give me your last name.
Why?
Because I'm conducting business with you right now.
Where my friend?
You want to be.
10-4, that's not going to be the drive.
What's your RS?
Stand by.
What's your reasonable articulate
Okay.
suspicion of my crime?
I'm going to get rid of him.
Hold on. I'll explain to you, okay?
Am I being detained?
With you right now.
Am I being detained?
Like, bro, get your look. Like, that's why you don't need a female cop and a guy cop. This nigga is like just glazing. He trying to. It's like you trying to. You think you too cool for this shit, bro.
If you want to be.
10-4, that's not
That's not how it works. What's your RS?
Stand by.
My RS?
Articulate
Okay.
suspicion of my
Okay.
crime.
Here,
gonna get
first,
rid of
okay, hold on. I'll explain it to you, okay? Doing what you're doing right now.
No, sir. She almost ran me off the road.
Okay. Again, you didn't yield to lights and siren. And you came out.
She was next to me and stopped and almost ran me off the fucking road. What are you talking
Okay,
about?
listen to me. You asked my reasonable articulable suspicion. It's not a
I'm not
probable
under
cause.
arrest. If you arrest me, you violate my rights.
I don't want to arrest you. We have to
You're
ID
going to
you.
violate my rights. That's what you're going to
Okay,
do?
we have to ID you. You understand that? Yes, we do.
All right, I'm going to videotape it.
Okay, we got you on camera
I'm
too.
going to call. They come get the car. You're violating my rights.
Come getting. Who's getting what car?
They can come. You're going to arrest
Radio
me,
another
right?
car here. I got a mail.
Oh, if it's this Tesla, then if she completely stopped, then that's her fault.
So I'll take a report on it, but I need your ID.
No.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with her.
The misuse of authority to intimidate civilians. Ohio Revised Code 2921.29 clearly states that identification is required only when there is reasonable suspicion of criminal activity. Since Mr. Kern was not involved in any criminal offense, his refusal to provide identification was lawful. However, Officer Lewis and Sergeant Wolf ignored this fact, pressuring Mr. Kern into complying and eventually handcuffing him without cause.
Listen, talk to me. Just do me a favor. All I'm asking you,
I'm a private citizen.
just take your hands out of your pocket while we're talking,
Right.
okay? Okay, I called for backup, all right?
Yeah.
I initiated a traffic stop. I understand you and I and that gentleman, we all just saw what happened, okay? I'm calling for another person because I'm dealing with one person who I don't know who I'm dealing with. And you get out. Listen, sir, let me speak. Let me explain to you. I call for another person because I have a man getting out of a car walking towards me. You know how society is. I know how society is.
God, no
Now,
shit. That's just what you're doing is it's discrimination. You're assuming that something's gonna happen to you because you feel intimidated. Doesn't mean that's the reality though. And I feel like that's the problem with officers in the first place, specifically female officers. Because why are you applying for this job? You are intimidated if you feel like you can't do your job correctly. Why? Because you're a woman.
listen,
Right.
I'm asking you to identify yourself so I can let my dispatcher know who I'm out with. If you don't identify yourself, that is obstruction. You are the one that came
Obstruction
out.
is a secondary crime.
it's
What crime did I commit?
There's no crime, but I'm
So there's no crime, I don't need to
identifying you. Okay.
Thank you.
I need your driver license.
Look, man, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to arrest you if you don't identify yourself.
She just said it was no crime.
It is a
Listen.
crime. Obstructing is a
What
crime.
Obstructing is a
You
crime.
need to identify yourself, Raj.
She almost ran me off the road.
And then I still have to identify you.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna call anything with the car. You can arrest me.
Okay, turn around. Put your gun back.
Cause I didn't do anything.
Okay, turn around. Turn around. Put your gun
I didn't do anything.
Listen, just all you have to do
I don't have my ID with me.
Okay, what's your cell phone?
Date of birth. That's all we asked for.
For what?
What's your last name, sir?
Kern, man.
Kern?
You know what happened. Why are you letting him
Listen,
do this?
he's a
He's
sergeant.
violating my rights.
He is not. He
Come here, have a
didn't
seat. We're going to give you
identify
a ticket when
yourself.
we send you on your way. You have valid driver's license?
Yeah, I do. You violate my rights, man.
Are you getting a ticket for interfering with the traffic?
How did I interfere? She almost ran me off.
That don't make no sense, bro. That's just what make me that really makes me mad, bro. Obstruction is a secondary crime. It's only obstruction after you commit a crime. If you commit a crime and then you refuse to identify yourself, then that's obstruction. There's no crime. It's not obstruction. You don't have to identify yourself if you didn't do anything, especially if you're free to go, unless you're detained. Go to school.
Off the fucking road.
And you could have pulled off and waited and called.
I did wait when she said wait.
You were out here talking to her. Have a seat.
Mr. Kern, just
Don't
have,
push me, man.
Have a seat.
Why are you so full of machismo, man?
Dude, have a seat. I'm not putting up with your bullshit, okay? Have a seat.
What's wrong with you, man?
Have a
I'm
seat.
sitting down.
All the way in.
if he
He's going
checks,
for obstructing. Or he's getting a
you're
ticket
gonna.
for obstructing. Is he valid?
I don't know. I'm waiting for the radio to say. What? So this is what happened. That vehicle matched the description of the vehicle from Weird Shit yesterday. I initiate a traffic stop. That person, instead of like pulling over, he stopped abruptly. And I'm getting behind him, but he stopped abruptly. This guy was very close to him, and we almost did get into an accident because that driver stopped so abruptly. I did, yes.
Gets a ticket for
He,
there's no ifs, ands, or buts about this.
okay.
He's getting a ticket for
Radio 1, if you need to read back on that, yes,
All right, nigga don't even know what he want to charge him for. That's like you're regularly driving, right? You're about to yield, and you just see a officer speeding past you, getting in front of you, and then stop pushing on their brakes. How can you yield if you don't even see it?
Yes, radio, I do. That's why I provided it.
Goes to a Demetrius Raphael Kern. It's a 37-year-old male. He's valid. That's one.
So he gets a ticket, and then he comes to
Listen, I don't feel I need to give him a ticket for that. I'm
But then
cool with
he
just.
goes for obstruction.
Okay, I mean, I'm cool with letting him go. He just, I didn't understand.
He's in handcuffs.
And he's being a jerk.
He obstructed. He refused to identify himself. I'm not going to sit out here
Okay.
and argue with somebody for an hour. The legalities of it. You can come to court.
Okay.
So he gets a ticket for obstructing failure to identify himself.
It just gets to a point to where you just salty. So like, no, don't be in your feelings because you can't. You know what I'm saying? You can't charge a valid black man for a crime like y'all always do.
You guys got a
Mr.
lawsuit
Kern,
coming.
just hang on. Just
You got a lawsuit coming.
listen, let me explain to you. You don't get out of the car yet. The sergeant wants me to give you a ticket for obstruction, okay? I'm not going to do anything else. Listen, he's the boss. He is the boss.
I don't have to refuse if I didn't commit a crime. This isn't a stop and ID state.
At this point, it is a traffic stop because you're out on a
almost ran me
traffic
off
stop.
the road.
Mr.
You
Kern,
know
we
it.
just had that conversation. I did not almost run you off the road.
That Tesla has cameras in it. So
Okay.
you guys are going to pay for this.
That's fine.
Officer Lewis gave inconsistent statements. Unfortunately, Mr. Kern couldn't provide Tesla video evidence, explaining that the recording feature was inactive. Despite Officer Lewis acknowledging her mistake and attempting to correct it, the supervisor, too egotistical to admit they were
Exactly. That ego too big, dude. It gets to a point to where you don't have anything. Like, he literally stuttered, y'all. He didn't know what to even charge him for because he couldn't charge him with anything. He didn't do anything. It's the ego thing, bro.
wrong, chose to proceed with the obstruction charge, citing that Mr. Kern was in handcuffs. This action amounts to a secondary violation of
Exactly.
Mr.
I say earlier.
Kern's rights.
Mr. Kern, I apologize.
Can't override. You can't just automatically override and then give him obstruction. You have to commit a crime first, and then obstruction comes into play. If there's no crime committed, you can't even say obstruction.
I really do. And this is on body cam, all right? This is, the sergeant's telling me to do this, so... Police have to identify you. You do have to identify yourself.
I broke the law. If I broke the law, I have to identify.
Mr. Kern, you got out of the vehicle in the middle of a traffic
I
stop.
almost got hit.
I understand that. And I needed to identify you.
This is going to be a heavy lawsuit. Legal Heights is going to pay me for this.
For what, sir?
Kidnapping, illegal detainment.
No one's
I'm
kidnapping
in the
you.
back of your car in handcuffs.
Okay,
I'm kidnapped.
this is not kidnapping.
And that nigga said, I'm kidnapped. Hey, it's funny as hell. What the hell?
The sergeant placed you under arrest for obstruction. He asked for your information and you didn't give it to him. Listen, I'm gonna be... There'll be a court date. You and I will both go to it. And our prosecutor's really good and we'll work through it, okay? Listen, I'm just doing what I'm told to do, alright? What do I put for this verbiage? When asked to identify himself, he refused.
So, just for my own, you activated the overhead.
So we're literally here and I'm coming up because I saw that car.
You need to tell him you was speeding. Tell him everything. Well, you just look like you just don't care about nothing. Want to drink your coffee.
Looked like a car from yesterday's incident. I ran it. It's expired. I am in this lane. I put my lights on to activate. The guy, instead of like continuing, he like whipped like halfway in between both lanes, and
Oh, you sped and cut him off.
this guy was right behind him. So it did almost cause an accident. Absolutely. No, I was trying to go behind. It would have been a sure clear distance accident. But because of how that guy stopped abruptly, it would have been.
And he stopped and just decided to get out of
Well, and he was pissed because we did almost get into an accident. He was.
You didn't almost get it.
No, all of three of us, it would have been an accident. Yeah, I was going behind the other guy.
He could have gone down the street.
But the guy stopped abruptly, but he did. Then he got out and he's yelling. He's yelling while I'm initiating. Right. So I told him, I said, sir, just stand there. Let me talk to him. I'll come talk to you. And he did. But then he's continuous, because he did.
It's an ego thing, man. She's lying. Like, why are you? Tell the truth. You were speeding. Cut him off, probably. And then the guy end up, because if you activate your lights, speed to get behind somebody, and they just stop. And then somebody else is closer behind you. That's your fault. That's why you don't automatically hit your lights as a police officer. You got to make sure that, you know what I'm saying, it's enough time for you to get the pull over. Nobody's behind you for real. You know what I'm saying? That's why they do that.
Because that happened, I called for backup, and then he was upset, rightfully so. It was whatever. Why are they assholes? Was that necessary? Rightfully so. It was whatever. Why are they assholes? Was that necessary? Alright, here's your property.
Hold on, let me get this here.
Sure.
Hey, let's push him on my cuffs are these, man.
Some janky rusty ass stuff. Do you want to sign or are you going to refuse? Alright, I'm going to give you a copy of it.
You guys violated my rights. You know.
Well, we'll all be in court.
Despite Officer Lewis apologizing for almost causing an accident, she and her supervisor, Sergeant Wolf, continued to escalate the situation. Mr. Kern, in handcuffs, was charged with obstruction, a charge that was clearly unfounded, as evidenced by the dismissal of the case 11 days later, due to lack of evidence. Officer Lewis herself appeared conflicted during the encounter, apologizing multiple times, but ultimately deferring to her superior's insistence on pressing charges. This further illustrates how poor supervision can exacerbate situations that could otherwise be peacefully resolved.
They got the power, man. You know what I'm saying? Power is everything. You know what I'm saying? They feel like you got the upper hand. They gonna break the rules too. No matter if you're a sergeant, whatever you is, man. Look, man. They do this everywhere.
I'm not trying to be a bad cop. I was literally not
You're a
trying
bad
to
cop.
have any of this happen. And I
That's the definition of back cop. You can't even take accountability.
did apologize.
You apologize,
I should take your badge.
but you're following his directives.
He's a sergeant,
Yeah, but
sir.
still, like you swore oath to the Constitution,
Right.
and you know what's right and wrong, and sometimes you gotta stand up to people.
Listen,
No.
when asked for your information, you
But I
have to
didn't commit a
identify
crime.
yourself. At this point, we're on a traffic stop together
But you
now.
still have to.
A traffic stop is not a crime.
And I asked him, I'm being detained, and
Okay.
nobody answered that.
Listen,
So I did it. I covered all my bases.
all the stuff's gonna be typed in the report.
If I
All
was
right.
being detained, I had no choice but to give you my ID. That's why I specifically asked.
Yeah.
Am I being detained?
Well, at that point,
And
it's
if
a
I'm not-
traffic stop.
But still, if I'm being detained, you should tell me. And if I'm not being detained,
Yeah.
I'm free to go. And
Right.
in a situation,
Well,
Facts.
right now you're free to go.
yeah.
All right. I hope that you feel better, and I'm sorry that all of this had to happen this way.
You didn't do nothing.
Well, we did. We got into a little accident, almost
Take accountability. You keep deflecting.
a middle
You
accident,
did your job.
and I apologize.
Things happen in life. He came. He violated my rights.
Well, we're gonna work through it. All right. I don't think he violated your rights. He wanted you to identify yourself, and you didn't. All right.
You know you swore oath.
Say again.
You swore oath.
I did. I did.
That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, Mr. Kern.
Thank you.
I hope that you feel better. All
I'm
right.
going to the hospital.
All right. You gonna go to Metro?
I'm going right there.
Yes, sir.
The dismissal of Mr. Kern's case signaled that the obstruction charge was baseless. While Sergeant Wolf was a driving force behind the wrongful detainment, Officer Lewis's participation in the misconduct could not be overlooked. Her shifting narrative about the events, combined with her failure to uphold Mr. Kern's rights, ultimately led to her dismissal from the force.
All in all, you got fired. All this pick me shit, it ain't gonna get you there. At the end of the day, they don't care about you. But like bro said, stand up for yourself. Stand up for what's right and what's wrong. You're not gonna lose his job, but you'll lose yours.
The department had no choice but to fire her after public outcry and internal review, citing her failure to act with integrity and her role in a botched, unjust traffic stop. Like and subscribe for more police cam.
Hey man, what y'all think, man? I think that was a justified thing. I definitely think she should have, her career should have ended. You know what I'm saying? But leave it down in the comment, leave it down below in the comment section. You know what I'm saying? What you think? You know what I'm saying?